Welcome friends, my name is Denise and I have a breaking news update of the new fee structure that Posh has implemented. As always, I've done the math on what's happening, and interestingly enough, I had a buy it now sale this morning, and so I wanted to run and share what that looks like for us as sellers. Now, I've been hearing different feedback from people. I have one $85 sale, which is over the $50 threshold. So my statistics are really just going to be reporting on a number over $50. I have heard for $15 sales, people are paying $3.33 in fees, and they used to pay $2.95. So there's a little bump in what you have to pay, and it's eating into profits. My first response to that is, if you've watched my videos, I talk about getting my ASP up, average sales price. I'm trying to bracket up from $36 to that $45, $42, $50 range, somewhere in there. This is good motivation to constantly be sourcing through the lens of a higher ASP. If you're making average sales of $10 to $15, I really encourage you to focus on what you're sourcing if you are purchasing those items. If that is free inventory for you, if it's coming from your household, then obviously that doesn't apply to you. But if you are going thrifting and you're buying items that you're selling on Poshmark between $10 and $15, I would like you to rethink your business strategy and really work in this last quarter of 2024 in sourcing items and leveling up your ASP to at least that $30 mark. I'm going to tell you what the fees looked like right away. On an $85 sale, I paid $3, a flat rate of $3. So the structure is $15, you pay a flat $1. $15 to $49.99, you pay $2, and $50 and up, you pay a flat fee of $3. So $1, $2, or $3. And then on top of that, you're going to pay 5.99% to Poshmark. So the math is pretty simple from the seller side. On an $85 purchase, I paid $8.77 in Posh fees, which brings my profits to $76.23. Me likey. Now, in the old structure, on an $85 sale, I would have paid 20%, just straight up. We're not going into shipping discounts or anything. We're just talking straight fees we would pay Posh. $17 Posh would have taken from that transaction, and I would have walked away with $68. So I have an extra $8.23 in my pocket as a result of the fee structure change. I'm kind of liking it. I'm also gonna debunk what's happening on the Posh side of things through December 31st, because it may not be what we were just thinking less than 24 hours ago. So on the buyer side, a friend of mine happened to buy something from a friend of hers on Posh just to get a sense of what the new fees are going to be. And it was an $85 item. And I said, hey, can I borrow your screenshots for this purpose of this video? So I even have the $85 on the buyer side. It just happens to turn out that the fees are the same. So I just kind of lucked out with this. On the buyer side, the purchase was $85 and it was a Posh ambassador, and Posh is offering this Posh Pass right now through December 31st. So if you buy from a Posh ambassador, your shipping's going to be $5.95 instead of the $7.97. So that's a $2 savings to the buyer. I know what you're thinking, but just stick with me. So There's $14.76 in fees and tax, in addition to the $85. So $85, $5.95, $14.76 in fees, buyer protection fees, and tax. So buyer protection fees are the following, communicated from Poshmark on their blog: Posh Protect, authentication, 24/7 support, and ongoing improvements. So, not really anything different there. It's all the same. Let's get back to it. So the $14.76 fees looks like this. So there's $85, $5.95 to ship, $14.76 in fees. Those fees are $5.99 in tax and $8.77 in fees. So essentially, the total of someone buying an $85 item is now $105.71. That's the all-in cost. So $20 on top of the price of the item. Wow. Wow, there's going to be backlash. I've seen screenshots. Do I have to pay this buyer protection fee? Can I waive the buyer protection fee? I have seen some friends on Instagram post what they've received from buyers. I don't want to pay this fee. Can I bypass it? No, you can't, because it's the new fee structure. So great for us, but we're gonna start to see these things trickle in. Now, what's interesting is technically they're not paying $8.77 more in fees, not until January 1st. Technically, they're only paying $6.77 more, and that's just simply because of that $2.02 discounted shipping. So the difference is $6.77 on an $85 item. I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. It does kind of make me feel like, as a buyer only on Posh, it would impact me. I looked at an item today of a person who was not a Posh ambassador, an item that I had liked, and I was just clicked on it to see what all the fees would be now. So a $30 item was going to cost $7.97 to ship. And then there was going to be $7.48 in fees, $3.02 in tax, and $4.46 going to Poshmark for the 5.99 and the $2 flat fee, for a total of $45.45. So on a $30 item, you're paying 50% of that total in fees, between shipping, regular price shipping, taxes, and fees. That's a heavy surcharge. That, I feel like they need to look at that. I don't know. It's unusual. It's the type of numbers that you would anticipate people are going to have some backlash about. I see it. I see it. I feel like it's going to come straight to us as sellers. It's not going to go to Poshmark. It's going to be like, hey, do something about this. This stinks. So here's something that I have that's pretty interesting. Now that the real numbers are in, and I love math, I'm a budget director, so here we go. I'm talking about an $85 sale, pivoting back to that. Poshmark gets $8.77 from me. Poshmark gets $8.77 from the buyer. So that's $17.54. And I already talked about, if they got just their straight 20%, they would have gotten $17. So that's 54 more cents. A little bit less than what we were anticipating and potentially figuring out. Like, to see the real numbers, it's a little bit less than what people were dramatically reporting yesterday. Here's something that's interesting and that no one has mentioned except for me today. So if Posh is making 54 cents more than their 20%, but they're giving every buyer a $2 discount, 6 cents. Posh is actually losing $1.46 on the transaction because they're no longer getting $17.54. So on an $85 sale with the $2.02 discount on shipping, Poshmark's actually getting $15.54, which is $1.46 less than the 20% fee. Now, as we know, the $2 discount on shipping for Posh ambassadors, the Posh Pass, they're calling it, is gonna run out December 31st. I mean, maybe they'll create something where they'll allow sellers to buy into this and receive a certain percent of discounts on shipping throughout the year. I'm not really sure. I don't know how things are going to play out, but it is interesting. Posh is making a good faith movement here by offering that $2. And if you are to break that down, honestly, when it goes to the lower end of things, they're going to be losing a bigger percentage. I haven't done it on the smaller numbers. I don't think I have to do it on the smaller numbers, but I just want to be the first person to say that this rollout for the last quarter of the year, Posh is going to be losing some of their 20%. It's there. The math is there. And that's all I have to say. That's like my exciting breaking news. I don't really have anything else related to this. I mean, I'm not in the heavy celebration camp yet. I am thrilled that today I got $8.23 more. I don't know what the buyer wave is going to be. And one of the things that I said today on Instagram, and I hope you can follow me over there if you're on Insta, it's Eat, Play, Love, Posh. What do we think the time frame is for this fee structure to kind of take a back seat to being in the forefront of people's minds, right? Especially buyers. Like, when is it just going to be normalized? Like, oh, I pay a fee. When I buy on Posh, I pay 6%. I don't know what that time frame is going to look like. In my mind, I think the transition's going to take about 6 months for buyers to forget that they didn't have to pay the fee. You know, Mercari and Depop, or I don't even know, I don't use those other platforms. They have kind of moved to this model where now buyers are paying the fee or a part of the fee. So I think it was only natural that Poshmark was going to kind of look at their fee structure. And the one thing I want to end with is that I understand it's going to be a transition, especially if you're selling at a lower average sales price. And I just, in my heart of hearts, want to say when I signed up for Posh, I knew it was 20%. I just knew it was. And so I don't know, am I going to have to adjust my prices now? Am I going to have to offer more discounts on shipping? Am I going to have to offset the fee that people are going to have to pay? Now, the person bought a Patagonia vest from me today for $85, buy it now price, didn't say a word, didn't ask me about it, nothing about the changes. They just bought the item and I shipped it out. I don't know what to say. Like, I'm just curious to see. Really, I'm going to touch base on this in 6 months. So it's October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Right around tax season, I'm going to touch base about how I think things shook out and if it was a good business decision for Poshmark or not. Take care, everyone. I hope your sales are skyrocketing. I hope your profits are skyrocketing. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching and take care, everyone.